JR Farr, welcome to the show. Great to finally connect. How's it going, man?
Yeah, absolutely. Good to see you, man.
Yeah. So as we were just talking offline, we've connected multiple times online. I think this is one of the first times we actually spoke in person. But the first time I met you was probably over 10 years ago. You sent me an iPad.
I did. I did.
I think it was for your previous business, MOJO Themes, and from what I remember, I think I won some kind of contest for like uploading a WordPress theme to your marketplace. This must have been like 2009, 2010.
2009.
And you ran a contest, and I won it. That was like a first generation iPad. I was so psyched.
Yeah, and that's what I was. We were just kind of talking about this, but it sounds right now. It sounds ridiculous, right? It's like, oh, cool, you got an iPad. But like when that came out, it was the biggest deal. These things were. And we sat, so I actually have to tell you the story because I never really got to talk to you about this, but we sat, me and Brady, my co-founder, when we decided to do this, we didn't know how much they were going to cost. So we're bootstrapped, right? Trying to launch this marketplace, which if anybody's ever launched a marketplace business, it's super difficult because you have the chicken or the egg, right? And so you have to have the content or you have to have the buyers. And so it's really hard to get going. So our idea was, well, let's launch this March Padness thing and give away iPads.
March Padness. Right.
Yeah, it was around March Madness, remember? And we launched that, and we decided to give away a bunch of iPads, and whoever uploaded the most items got the different iPads. And I think you were like one of the top ones. So anyway, long story short, Steve Jobs had announced the iPad, but we didn't know how much it was going to cost. So when these things came out, they were like $1,500. But again, this is like bootstrap 2009. We weren't planning on spending, $10,000 on iPads. So we sat in line.
There's a lot of people listening now who probably don't remember what it was like back then with Apple products.
Oh yeah.
Like that was the era of Apple products coming out and changing the world. I mean, it was like iPhone coming out in like 07, and then the iPad came out around 2010, 2011, and like it was just it was literally like everything that our industry was talking about.
And it sounds ridiculous, but like we sat in line. Like we had to wait for the store. There was lines everywhere. It took all day to get these iPads. And then the other thing is, so we had to spend all this money. And then, you lived obviously in the US, so that was easy. But we had people winning that were in Germany. So it cost more money to ship the iPad than it did to pay for the iPad. Like the German. So anyway, but yeah, that's how we met. So it's funny to connect the dots now.
Yeah, totally. I mean, there's so much I want to get into because I feel like we're going to jump around to a lot of things. But actually, that iPad story, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, it's a tactic. It's a like the contest strategy, right? To build awareness for a brand new thing. I think you ran something similar to like a contest for Lemon Squeezy, your current product recently, didn't you?
We're doing kind of the same thing. I mean, we've done a lot of stuff like that. When we first opened it up, I think we gave away a MacBook to like reserve like your kind of store and your account and stuff. That helped. And then we're constantly trying to think of new offers and promotions. And I think sometimes like founders, we get so focused on I build the best product and marketing is kind of an afterthought, right? And it's actually a different muscle that people kind of aren't used to. And so coming up with an offer is, I don't know, sometimes it can feel like, well, I don't want to brag about my product. I don't want to bug people about it, but you have to get it in front of them and you have to dangle some sort of carrot to get them to bite on it. So
totally.
Yeah.
I mean, we're going to get into all that kind of stuff. I really want to, probably in the next segment here, talk to you about Lemon Squeezy and the product, its evolution, and all these like marketing ideas for building awareness for a brand new product in the space. Again, I feel like not enough people are talking about that kind of work because that's the important stuff, right? But I want to get more of your story on this one. A running theme on this show has been like entrepreneurial transitions, right? A lot of us moving from one business to the next. I don't want to get like the whole life story here, but like, can you give folks like a bit of a recap? Like, so you spent a lot of time working on MOJO Themes and you had an exit there. Like what did that look like these last few years?
Yeah. So I'll do a quick one. So 2009 to like 2018 was MOJO. So over a decade of my life. And that was bootstrapped to a decent sized team, getting acquired. And then the big conglomerate company that bought us, we went through an IPO. So that was like everything in 10 years. And, you want to talk about transition, right? Like that's like founder hat on everything. Then you start to kind of grow to like your 10 to 20, and then you're 50 and 100 and 150, 200 people. And the transition there, like letting go of the steering wheel, giving responsibility over here, like that's really, really hard, I think, for someone to transition from a founder to a CEO. I learned that really tough. That was a tough lesson for me. But yeah,
what's your background, by the way? Like, are you like I think of you as like the business marketing guy.
Yeah.
Do you have like a technical background or anything like that, or how do you this whole space?
So that's actually a great question. So when I started out, I was in the ad agency world, and I was a big like affiliate marketing guy. So I learned that's how I learned WordPress. It was like 2005, 2004, 2005. And I was like spinning up landing pages and things like that. And so I would say I'm like technical enough where like I can talk it. I could back in the day before you had to spin up like a million gulp and everything else, just to get like a thing going. But and then I could do design. But now I've just kind of like leaned into like, hey, this is what I'm good at. So I'm just going to be good at marketing, good at like partnerships and gluing the right team together and let them do what they do best. So yeah, so that's how I describe myself, like marketing for sure.
And I mean, Mojo Themes, your previous business, from what I remember about that, there was Envato and like the Theme Forest Marketplace, right? Yeah. They were sort of like the big player.
800-pound gorilla, yeah.
Yeah, that like I guess the player that was not Automatic or WordPress.org.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then you came along with Mojo, and I just remember thinking, and I guess that whole period of time, it was like that was the only real like actual competitor to Envato, right? Like it almost seems like Envato was so well established that nobody even thought to offer an alternative, and then you guys came in with a really high quality and you built a great business around it. I just think that there's a lesson there that just because there's a big competitor does not like that should be a good reason to go into a space, not a
100%. You actually just made me think of a couple things. There's always a Pepsi and a Coke, right? And then like even like McDonald's, Wendy's, like when they're all at the same corner, they all rise together. It's actually when they're by themselves they don't do as well. Just like vending machines in an office, you got to have multiple vending machines for them to work. So, but the other thing that I like really learned from that experience was WordPress, like basically taking a ride or taking a trend and riding that wave. And we picked up WordPress. Remember when it was like 7% of the internet now, and then we rode it all the way till it was where it is now, right? And so that was a crazy, crazy ride. Just kind of attaching ourselves to that. So I look at things now like Webflow, or there was the Shopify thing, or there was there's all these different things that if you aren't good at marketing and you need distribution, that's a good place to kind of think when you're building something.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean we see this like I guess mental model or concept kind of floating around different people, like Justin Jackson talking a lot about like ride an existing wave of demand.
Yeah.
And I mean WordPress is just what an example of that, especially around that time from like 2009 up through the past decade of just natural growth. Not that like necessarily like you launch something, it will do well. You still have to work and execute really well. But yeah, when you have those like tailwinds at your back, it seems like it's
and we and it's weird to think now because it's been five or 6 years since I was there. We got to like 6 million users, and I was just ready to kind of go back and build something new again. So I guess to kind of fast forward to today, I did some stuff. I was the GM, and I was like over like a $700-800 million P&L, and that was just churn was a big issue. So I got really into churn and retention. So I actually built a product called Weave that was like built on Stripe that helped with that. And that was like a good ride, and it kind of fizzled out, to be honest. And then I bumped into the Make Lemonade, Orman and Gilbert and Jason Schuler, and we kind of started talking, and we can kind of go into Make Lemonade now. And
that's exactly what I want to get into. When I saw you guys kind of launch this partnership or this like entity, if you will, this brand, I mean, you got to, everyone listening to this has to just go to this website and just read the copy. I mean, it's just awesome. Like everything about it is like, it's got so much personality. So you go to makelemonade.wtf, right? And like tell me about this partnership. Like, when did it come about? How did it come about? What is it?
So I actually pinged Jason Schuler and Chris Molitor. They were building this company called Rivet, and I was talking to them about helping them market that product. And that led to like, well, we've been talking to Orman, and so we all kind of started chatting and trying to figure out, well, could we all do something better together than like apart? And at the time, you know, unfortunately, like COVID was going around, and so Make Lemonade was the brand because it was like, well, we've all been given these lemons, let's make some lemonade. So, and then the WTF part has been, we just didn't want to be looked at too seriously. Like everyone takes life so serious and gets so romantic about everything that they do. So we're going to come out here and we're just going to launch these brands that are going to just blow people's socks off and just not take it too seriously as we do it. So,
I mean, dude, that's exactly what it does actually. Like when people talk about brand and, you know, just like like, I feel like you guys have executed it so well. It's like notable just reading the personality that comes through in the site, you know? I think that's so important, and it really is overlooked. And frankly, I think it sort of just comes down to like talent and probably your own actual personalities, right? Like you can't just like press the personality button and expect it to.
I think too, like, I mean, everyone to their own right has their own skill set. And one of the things that I guess I pat myself on the back for is like, when you're dealing with people that are super high talented, like I'm talking world-class designer in Orman, right? Like he has been just like you. He is a solo entrepreneur who's built massive companies by himself. So for him, this is a different thing. But so that's what I'm saying is like, I think one of the things that I really tried to work on is being the glue, and like really, it took a lot of inertia and effort to get this team to come together, because
that's what I want to ask you about. I mean, Orman Clark, for those who aren't familiar, I got to ask Orman to come on this show, by the way.
Yeah.
He is one of the most talented designers that I've seen online, and I've been following his work forever. And he has built like multiple, as you said, like first of all, a huge audience of his own, plus multiple businesses, you know, and a well-known designer. So 2020 comes around, and how does this partnership come about? How does it make sense for him and for Jason and like everyone involved, you know, cause like and I've talked about this on the show a little bit before, where like I've been solo through all of my businesses, and there have been a few times where I came close to partnering up with some people, and it didn't happen for different reasons. But usually that was because of like career and life timing, right?
Sure.
Like it was never really like we don't get along or anything like that. It was always like we would make a perfect fit, but one of us has a different business that's going in a different direction or something like that, right?
Yeah.
How did like the timing and all that sort of align?
Yeah, and a lot of those were all questions and long discussions. So we kind of had to navigate those. Again, I don't I feel like I kind of came up with some ideas to help us figure out how do we make sure that if we do bring these things in under the Make Lemonade fold, how do these get incentivized to. But then the other thing you run into is I think the way to make it work, honestly, just to answer it more directly, is you have to align everybody's incentives to be the same, right? So I think that's something that we're all like very aligned with like what it is that we're doing, what it is that we're trying to do. And the incentives are, you know, building a company that we can control, that we can see lasting for a decade. Those are like two big things to us. And so for whatever reason, maybe it's luck or something, but it just all came together in the moment. And yeah, and then it's I mean, if you look at Lemon Squeezy, we can kind of talk about that, but that's been almost 3 years in the making now.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to go deep on Lemon Squeezy in a minute, but still just like staying on Make Lemonade, which I guess you consider like the parent brand, the portfolio of different products and different brands. And so just to be clear, like the partnership or the members involved here are yourself, Orman Clark, Jason Schuler, Gilbert Pellegrom.
Those four. Yep. That's the four co-founders. Yep. And then
what, I don't know, only share what you're able to share
Sure.
publicly about the details here, but some of these products, like they existed under like Orman's brand and your brand and everything. Like, did you sort of all agree that like everything that each of you are doing sort of comes under Make Lemonade, or was there like an agreement around like these things are part of it, these things are not part of it? Like, how did you sort of work out?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just like you said. And then we had different things that with Orman bringing his stuff in, we had a deal set up for how his stuff works. And we even looked at now, we'll probably just acquire everything. So it's just formally under Make Lemonade rather than making sure, so he's covered. And so it all sits under one. And it's been nice because from like a mind and just like energy, right, perspective, like you can just put all of your eggs under this one thing, and it's kind of nice just to be focused as a group. Yeah. So yeah, trust me, it was a sticky. There's a lot of moving parts there. There's a lot of emotions. Yeah. There's a lot of, just like, well, mine's this and that. You know what I mean? You can imagine what those conversations were like. But
I've been for the most bit of it with like some potential business partners in the past that didn't happen. And also part of the challenge is, when you're bootstrapped, especially bootstrapping a brand new company and launching new products, like a lot of it is like, alignment on like, how do each of us pay ourselves? Right. Yeah. So, a couple of years back, I almost partnered with someone, and it was like, well, I just recently exited a business, so I could self-fund for a while, but the other person cannot, or vice versa.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's almost like you have to like almost win the lottery. Like having the personality fit, the skills match up, like the supplementary skills or complementary skills, and then like self-funding source.
Yeah.
Right.
And at the end of it, and the thing is like, trust me, there's like some cuts and bruises from it for sure. And it's not all sunshine and rainbows. There was definitely some hard conversations and some things that we had to get through, but that is something too that comes into factor. Cause when you get into the year one, like Gilbert was full time, but between me and Orman, there was a significant amount of money, like actual money going in to pay for Gilbert's full-time salary. So that influenced some of the equity too, right? So then you start having those conversations, and what is that worth, and what is my time worth versus money versus, so it's we finally got to a point where,
like when I saw
that did
you guys,
influence it though.
When I saw the four of you come together on Make Lemonade at the time, that was exactly my thinking. I was like, wow, this is like a dream team of talented people coming together. I can't wait to see what they do together. This is amazing. Right. And also in the back of my mind, like, I don't know what it took to make this partnership happen, but it
was a lot.
Seems like you guys really like pulled something off here.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just starting to get into Lemon Squeezy, like, okay, but not yet, right? Like, so you decide to come together into like Make Lemonade. What is the reason for partnering up? Did you have like a mission or a long-term plan? What was the plan to always have multiple products, or was it to eventually move toward one big focus? Like, what did you guys think there?
Yeah. So actually, and I think we still are trying to do something like this, but Make Lemonade, we actually have a few partnerships, like Iconic, for example. We've teamed up with James McDonald, who's like a big time icon designer. So we actually built that product under Make Lemonade with him. So there is like so our idea originally was, how can we go find other people that maybe even have products, but they can't get them off the ground? We have a massive audience, 300, 400, 500,000 people list, right? So how could we bring those people into the Make Lemonade fold? We do some sort of equity split that makes sense. And then now that brand sits under there and they're part of Make Lemonade in a sense. We called it a collective, right? So that's like a little bit outside of our other products. And I don't know, I think...
It's almost like you're like a record label or something like that.
Yeah, it's like Wu-Tang. It's literally, we call it our Wu-Tang clan. That's literally what we call it. It's like Wu-Tang. Yeah. You can go off and like build your own thing, or you can come back in with a group and do this stuff together. Or we can do this one over here. But for the most part, we've all kind of hung together. And I think the reason why I said we'll probably eventually get back to the collective work is we've got so much going with our existing projects that we don't have time right now to do that. So we're not really inviting anybody else into the collective at the moment while we're trying to get everything kind of off the ground and going. And those teams, like Lemon Squeezy's up to like 10 people now. And so how do I just make sure that team's kind of set before I get my eye off that ball, right? Because there's just so much momentum there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think we're going to kind of wrap up this first segment here, and we'll just sort of like roll into the next one. But
okay.
Yeah, it was really good getting that backstory.
Sweet.